First question: what is a caricature? At first, people not know what that actually is, but I'm actually going to be here today to tell you the full history and definitions of caricatures. With that, the definition of a caricature at basis is a drawing of a real life person that exaggerates physical appearance but still has resemblance of the person. And I'll show pictures of it in the video. But it bases it like a cartoon, but it's more like realistic wise and funny wise. Like, but characters in cartoons are very similar. Think like cousins who look alike but are still different. Um, like a cartoon is like the innocent little cousin that does nothing wrong and everybody knows and loves, and a character is like the cousin that everyone knows but knows nothing about and really doesn't care about them. Characters relatively to cartoon characters tend to be more realistic looking, depending on the style, and are usually drawings of people, while cartoons can be drawn of anything and are more simple. However, people still use cartoons as a synonym for caricatures, just because some people are lazy. The first time the word caricature has been really recorded was back thousands and thousands of years ago, back in the 1600s, by a man named Annabelle Karachi. I don't know. I'll put his name up in the video because I don't know how to say it. If you don't know this man, is you're probably not the only one. He's more of a man who's well known across the art community due to being like an absolute fucking Chad back in the 15 and 1600s. Basically, when he was young, he decided that he would set out to try and change Italian art and painting because he got bored of it. I guess like he saw these old people like painting these real life figures and these beautiful paintings, and he's like, "Fuck that! I don't want that. I want to make fun of people. I want something different." So when he was young, he decided that he would set out to try and do that. He like inspired most of the modern characters now, mainly due to the fact that people that he would paint draw would not seem realistic, but still have like an eerie feeling to them that they are still human like. Like if you ever like look at a drawing of like a real person and it looks off, but you can't explain why, that's what his art would look like sometimes. Him and his brother would do random sketches and would just take the idea of the rules of art and just throw them at the window. Like they don't give a shit. But at the end of his life, he did die at the old age of 48, which was old in the 1600s in Rome. Um, which I mean, as a Chad he did, as a Chad he died from a really bad fever, which was perfectly normal at the time. Which I mean, nowadays it sounds like stupid to die at 48 of a fever, but back then that was like basically just dying of old age. Um, and then in the 19th century, you start to see the idea of using characters to make actual fun of people, like in France. So to begin with, there was this dude named Charles Philippin. I have no idea how to say these French goddamn names. Who was basically like this troll back in the 19th century who owned this magazine, right? And in this magazine, he would just just make fun of his king, at the time king of France. Is that he would just draw the king's head like a pear, and I'll show it in the video, but basically show the king as a pear just to make fun of him. I'm not 100% sure if he just didn't like the king or not, but or if he just wanted to make fun of him. But the king actually got so butthurt that there was actually a law passed in France that banned political characters. So like you could not draw any characters that were relating to politics or to the king or anything because the king got so fucking butthurt. If you move a little bit later in the timeline, you start to see the first instance of true modern characters with this dude named, oh god, Sir Max Beerholm, I think is how you say his name. And he would basically draw these characters which would relate to politics, theater, and literacy. And would do most of his drawings in pen or pencil, like you would see how people do it today. Well, today most people use markers, but and so he had did these hundreds and hundreds of drawings that were part of this magazine at the time, and people loved him because they were like funny natured and they made like the magazines more like pleasing to look at. Because if you really think about it, like, are you gonna be more intrigued by the magazine that has all these like weird looking faces, like Mad Magazine? Think of Mad Magazine, where like you as a kid you really wanted to, like, you didn't know anything about Mad Magazine other than like the weird looking characters on the front, or would you rather go for Time Magazine that just has normal people on it? Like, it had different interests and intrigues by other people, and that's why they became super super popular. And so you start to see like characters just start to escalate in popularity, and that's when you start to see them in carnivals and theme parks and stuff like that. This is when you start seeing companies starting to grow that base around their stuff, like stuff around characters like commons. This is where we got to today, where you can go down any tourist trap or go down any theme park and have a hard time not seeing at least one person drawing caricatures. To end it off, since it's the end of the video, I'm going to go ahead and say that I hope you learned something today. I spent a couple days writing and recording this, so if y'all like these kind of videos, then make sure to like and comment. It just got my idea to try and do a brief history of caricatures, because I don't think that people really like know what characters are. But yeah, see ya.